Teacher, today I will read Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, Chapter 3, Letter from No One. The escape of the Brazilian board construction earned Harry his largest ever punishment. By the time he was allowed out of his cupboard again, the summer holiday had started, and Dudley had already broken his new video camera, crashed his remote control airplane, and first time out on his racing bike, knocked down old Miss Fig as she crossed private drive on her crutches. Harry was glad school was over, but there was no escape. Dudley gang, who visited the house every single day, Pierce, Dennis, Malcolm, and Gordon were all big and stupid, but as Dudley was the biggest and stupidest of the lot, he was the leader. The rest of them were all happy to join in Dursley's favorite sport, Harry hunting. This was why Harry spent as much time as possible out of the house, wandering around and thinking about the end of the holidays, where he could see a tiny ray of hope. When September came, he would be going off to secondary school, and for the first time in his life, he wouldn't be with Dolly. Dolly had been accepted at a government old private school, Smeltings. Pierre's podcast was going there too. Harry, on the other hand, was going to Stonewall High, the local public school. Dudley thought this was very funny. They stuffed pupil heads down the toilet. The first day at Stonewall, he told Harry, "Want to come upstairs and breakfast?" "No, thanks," said Harry. "The poor toilets never had anything as horrible as your head down it. It might be sick." Then he ran before Dudley could work out what he said. One day in July, Aunt Petunia took Dudley to London to buy his melty uniform, leaving Harry and Miss Fiennes. Miss Fiennes wasn't as bad as usual. It turned out she did broken her leg tripping over one of her cats, and she didn't seem quite as fond of them as before. She let Harry watch television and gave him a bit of chocolate cake that tasted as though she did had it for several years. That evening, Dudley paraded around the living room for family in his brand new uniform, smelting spoiled watermelon tailcoat, orange knickerbocker, and flat straw hat called Potter. They also carried Monopoly sticks used for hitting each other while the teachers weren't looking. This was supposed to be good training for later life. As he looked at Dudley in his new knickerbockers, Uncle Vernon said gratefully that it was the proudest moment of his life. Aunt Petunia burst into tears and said she couldn't believe it was her Uncle Dudley. He looked so handsome and grown up. Harry didn't trust himself to speak. He told two of his ribs might already have cracked from trying not to laugh. There was a horrible smell in the kitchen the next morning when Harry went in for breakfast. It seemed to be coming from a large metal tube in the sink. He went to have a look. The top was full of what looked like dirty rags swimming in grey water. "What's this?" he asked Aunt Petunia, her lips tight as they always did if he dared to ask a question. Your new school uniform, she said. Harry looked in the pool again. Oh, he said. I didn't realize it had to be so wet. Don't be stupid, snapped Aunt Petunia. I'm dying some of Dudley old things great for you. It will look just like everyone else when I have finished. Harry seriously doubted this, but thought it best not to assure. He sat down at the table and tried not to think about how he was going to look on his first day at Stonewall High, like he was wearing bit of old 11 skin properly. Dudley and Uncle Vernon came in both with wrinkled nose because of the smell from Harry's new uniform. Uncle Vernon opened his newspaper as usual and Dudley penned his melting stick, which he carried everywhere on the table. They heard the click of the mail slot and flop of letter on the doormat. Get the mail, Dudley, said Uncle Vernon from behind his paper. Make Harry get it. Get the mail, Harry. Make Dudley get it. Poke him with your smelting stick, Dudley. Harry took the smelting stick and went to get the mail. Three things Leon made a postcard from Uncle Vernon's sister March, who was vacationing on the Isle of Wight, a brown envelope that looked like a pill, and a letter for Harry. Harry picked it up and started at it, his heart twanging like a young elastic band no one ever in his whole life had written to him. Who would? He had no friends, no other relative. He didn't belong to the library, so he did never even got wrote note asking for a book back. Yet here it was, a letter addressed so plainly there could be no mistake. Mirror Harry Potter. The cupboard under the stair for private drive. Little winging, Surrey. The envelope was thick and heavy, made of yellowish parchment, and the address was written in emerald green ink. There was no stamp. Stamp có nghĩa là stamp có nghĩa là con tem, còn emerald green có nghĩa là màu xanh ngọc lục bảo. Turning the envelope over, his hand trembling, Harry saw a purple was still peering, a coat of arms, a lion, an eagle, a partridge, and a snake surrounding a large letter H. Envelope có nghĩa là phong bì, bao bì thư, còn partridge có nghĩa là người bán rong. Hurry up, boy, shout Uncle Vernon from the kitchen. What are you doing? Checking for letter bombs? He chuckled at his own joke. Bomb có nghĩa là bom, còn chocolate có nghĩa là cười thầm. Harry went back to the kitchen, still staring at his letter. He had it, Uncle Vernon, the pill, and the postcard. Sat down and slowly began to open the yellow envelope. Uncle Vernon ripped open the pill, snorted in disgust, and flipped over the postcard. Much you, he informed Aunt Petunia, and a funny look. Dad, said Dudley suddenly. Dad, Harry got something. Harry was on the point of unfolding his letter, which was written on the same heavy parchment as the envelope when it was shocked sharply out of his hand by Uncle Vernon. "That's mine," said Harry, trying to snatch it back. Snatch có nghĩa là giật. "Could it be writing to you?" sneered Uncle Vernon, shaking the letter open with one hand and glancing at it. His face went from red to green faster than a set of traffic lights. And it didn't stop there. Within seconds, it was the greatest wine of old porridge, the escape of the Parisian poor contrister and Harry. His longest ever punishment có nghĩa contrister có nghĩa là hạn chế, còn punishment có nghĩa là hình phạt. By the time he was allowed out of his cupboard again, the summer holidays had started, and Dudley had already broken his new video camera, crashed his remote control airplane, and first time out on his racing bike knocked down old Miss Fitz had crossed Private Drive on her crutches. Harry was glad school was over, but there was no escaping Dudley Gang, who visited the house every single day. Peter, Dennis, Marco, and Gordon were all big and stupid, but as Dudley was the biggest and stupidest of the lot, he was the leader. The rest of them were all quite happy to join in Dudley's favorite sport, Harry hunting. This was Harry spent as much time as possible out of the school, wandering around and thinking about it in the end of holiday, where he could see a tiny ray of hope. When September came, he would be going off to secondary school for the first time in his life. He wouldn't be with Dudley. Dudley had been accepted several years. That evening, Dudley paraded around the living room for family in his brand new uniform, smelting boy wool, mirror, and tailcoat orange. "What is this?" he asked Aunt Petunia, her lips tightened as they always did if he dared to ask a question. "Petunia," he gasped. Dudley tried to grab the letter to read it, but Uncle Vernon held it high out of his touch. Aunt Petunia took it curiously and read the first line. For a moment it looked as though she might faint. She clutched her throat and made a choking noise. "Vernon! Oh my God, Vernon! Oh my goodness, Vernon!" They are staring at each other, seeming to have forgotten that Harry and Dudley were still in the room. Dudley wasn't used to being ignored. He gave his father a sharp tap on the head with his melting stick. Stick ở đây có nghĩa là cây gậy. "I want to read that letter," he said loudly. "I want to read it," said Harry furiously, "and it's mine. Get out, both of you," cried Uncle Vernon, stuffing the letter back inside its envelope. Harry didn't move. "I want my letter," he shouted. "Let me see," demanded Dudley. Demanded có nghĩa là đòi hỏi. "Out!" roared Uncle Vernon, and he took both Harry and Dudley by the scruff of their neck and threw them into the hall. Hall là hành lang, slamming the kitchen door behind them. Harry and Dudley promptly had a furious but silent fight over who would listen at the keyhole. Dudley won, so Harry, his glasses daily from one ear, lay flat on his stomach to listen at the crack between door and floor. Vernon and Petunia was saying in a wiry voice, "Look at the address. How could they possibly know where he sleeps? You don't think they are watching the house? Watching spying might be following us," muttered Uncle Vernon wildly. "But what should we do, Vernon? Should we ride back? Tell them we don't want?" Harry could see Uncle Vernon's shining black shoes pacing up and down the kitchen. "No," he said finally. "No, we will ignore it. If they don't get an answer, yes, at best we won't do anything. But I'm not having one in the house, Petunia. Didn't we swear when we took him in we did stamp out that dangerous nonsense that evening when he got back from work?" Uncle Vernon did something he did never done before. He visited Harry in his cupboard. "Where's my letter?" said Harry the moment Uncle Vernon was way through the door. "Who's writing to me?" "No one. It was addressed to you by mistake," said Uncle Vernon shortly. "I have burned it." "It was not a mistake," said Harry angrily. Angrily có nghĩa là một cách giận dữ. "It had my cupboard on it." "Silence, yo!" Uncle Vernon and a couple of spiders fell from the ceiling. He took a few breaths and then forced his face into a smile which looked quite painful. Yes, Harry, about this cupboard. Your aunt and I have been thinking you are really getting a bit big for it. We think it might be nice you move into Dudley's second bedroom." "Why?" said Harry. "Don't ask questions," said his uncle. "Take Steve upstairs now. The Dursleys have had 4 bedrooms, one for Uncle Vernon and Aunt Petunia, one for visitor, usually Uncle Vernon's sister March, one where Dudley slept, and one for Dudley keep all the toys and things that wouldn't fit into his bedroom." It only took Harry one trip upstairs to move everything he owned from the cupboard to this room. He sat down on the pad and stared around him. Nearly everything in here was broken. The month-old video camera was lying on the top of a small working tank. Dudley had once driven over the next door neighbor's dog. In the corner was Dudley's first ever television set, which he did put his foot through when his favorite program had been cancelled. There was a blackbird cage, which had once held a parrot that Dudley had swept at school for a real air rifle, which was up on the shelf with the end all pent because Dudley had sat on it. All the shelves were full of books. They were the only things in the room that looked as though they did never been touched. From downstairs came the sound of Dudley pulling at his mother. "I don't want him in there. I need that room. Make him get out." Henry sighed and stretched out on the bed. Yesterday he did haven't have given anything to be up here. Today he'd rather be back in his cupboard with that letter than up here without it. Next morning at breakfast, everyone was rather quiet. Dudley was in shock. He did scream, work his dad with his melting stick, being sick on bubbles, kicked his mother and threw his turtles through the greenhouse roof, and he still didn't have his room back. Harry was thinking about this time yesterday and bitterly wishing he did open the letter in the hall. Uncle Vernon and Aunt Petunia kept looking at each other darkly. When the man arrived, Uncle Vernon, who seemed to be trying to be nice to Harry, made Dudley go and get it. They hear him banging things with his smelting stick all the way down the hall. Then he shouted, "There's another one!" Mere Harry Potter, the smallest bedroom for Drive, with a strangled cry. Uncle Vernon leapt from his seat and ran down the hall. Harry right behind him. Uncle Vernon had to told Dudley to growl to get the letter from him, which was made difficult by the fact that Harry had grabbed Uncle Vernon around the neck from behind. After a minute of confused fighting, in which everyone got hit a lot by the smelting stick, Uncle Vernon straightened up, gasping up for breath, with Harry's letter clutched in his hand. "Go to your cupboard, I mean your bedroom," he whirled at Harry. "Dudley, go, just go." Harry walked round and round in his bedroom. Someone knew he had moved out of his cupboard, and they seemed to know he hadn't received his first letter. Surely that meant they did try again. And this time he did make sure they didn't fall. He had a plan. The repair alarm clock rang at 6 o'clock the next morning. Harry turned it off quickly and dressed silently. He mustn't wake the Dursleys. He stole downstairs without turning on any of the light. He was going to wait for the postman on the corner of Private Drive. The letter number 4 first his heart a handbreadth as he crept the door front. Harry leapt into the air. He did trod on something big and stretchy on the doormat, something alive. Light clicked on upstairs to his horror. Harry realized that big squishy something had been his uncle's face. Uncle Vernon had been lying at the foot of the front door in a sleeping bag, clearly making sure that Harry didn't do exactly what he did been trying to do. He sat at Harry for about half an hour and then told him to go and make a cup of tea. Harry shuffled miserably off into the kitchen, and by the time he got back, the mail had arrived right into Uncle Vernon's lap. Harry could see 3 letters addressed in green. "I want," he began, but Uncle Vernon was tearing the letter in 2 pieces before his eyes. Uncle Vernon didn't go work that day. He'd stay at home and nail up the mail. He explained to Aunt Petunia through a mouthful of nails. "If they can't deliver them, they'll just give up." "I'm not sure that'll work, Vernon." "Oh, these people minds work in a strange way, Petunia. They are not like you and me," said Uncle Vernon, trying to knock in a nail with a piece of fruit cake Aunt Petunia had just brought him. On Friday, no less than 12 letters arrived for Harry, and as they couldn't go through the mail slot, they had been pushed under the door, slotted through the side, and few even forced through the small window in the downstairs bedroom. Uncle Vernon stayed at home again. After burning all the letters, he got out a hammer and nails, boarded up the cracks around the front and back door so no one could out. He hoped tiptoed through the tulip as he worked, and jumped at a small noises. On Saturday, things began to get out of hand. 24 letters to Harry found their way into the house, rolled up and hidden inside each of the 2 dozen eggs that their very confused milkman had headed up Aunt Petunia through the living room window, while Uncle Bernard made furious telephone calls to post office and the diary, trying to find someone to complain into Aunt Petunia's stationery the letter in her food processor. Who on earth wants to talk to you this badly? Johnny asked Harry in amazement. On Sunday morning, Uncle Vernon sat down at the breakfast table looking tired, rather ill, but happy. No boss on Sunday, he reminded them cheerfully as he spread marmalade late on his newspaper note down later today and whizzing down the kitchen chimney as he spoke and cuffed him sharply on the back of the head. Next moment 30 or 40 letters came belting out of the fireplace like puppets. The dusty duck, but Harry leapt into the air trying to catch one. Out, out! Uncle Vernon seized Harry around the waist and threw him into the hall when Aunt Petunia and Dudley had run out with their arms over their faces. Uncle Vernon slammed the door shut. They could hear the letters still streaming into the room, bouncing off the wall and the floor. That does it, say Uncle Vernon's trying to speak calmly, but pulling great tuft out of his mustache. At the same time, I want you all back here in 5 minutes, ready to leave. We're going away, just pack some clothes, no assurance. He looked so dangerous with half his mustache, message that no one dared assure. 10 minutes later, they had wrenched their way through the pour-off door and were in the car speeding toward the highway. Dudley was sniffling in the back seat. His father had hit him round the head for holding them up while he tried to pack his television, VCR, and computer in his sport bag. They rolled and drove. Even Aunt Petunia didn't dare ask where they were going. Every now and then Uncle Vernon would take a sharp turn and ride in the opposite direction for a while. Shake 'em off, shake 'em off, he would mutter whenever he did this. They did stop to eat or drink all day. By nightfall, Dudley was howling. He never had such a bad day in his life. He was hungry. He missed fine television program he did wanted to see, and he did never gone so long without blowing up an alien on his computer. Uncle Vernon stopped at last outside a gloomy-looking hotel on the outskirts of a big city. Dudley and Harry shared a room with twin bed and down mercy seats. Dudley snored, but Harry stayed awake, sitting on the window sill, staring down at the lines of passing cars and wondering. They are sick cornflakes and cold China tomato on toast for breakfast the next day. They had just finished when the owner of the hotel came over to their table. Excuse me, but is one of you Mr. Harry Potter? Well, only I got about an hundred of these at the front desk. She held up a letter so they could read the green address. Meter Harry Potter Room 17 Rival Hotel Cook Worth. Harry make a graph for the letter but ungoverned knocked his hand out of the way. The woman said, I will take them, said Uncle Vernon, standing up quickly and following her from the dining room. Wouldn't be it better just to go home, dear? Aunt Petunia suggested timidly hours later, but Uncle Vernon didn't seem to hear her exactly what he was looking for. None of them knew. He drove them into a middle of forest, got out, looked round, shook his head, got back in the car, and off they went again. The same thing happened in the middle of plowed field, halfway across a submerged bridge, and at the top of multi-level parking garage. Daddy gone mad, hasn't he? Dolly asked Aunt Petunia. Dolly late that afternoon, Uncle Vernon had parked at the coast, locked them all inside the car, and disappeared. It started to rain. Great drops spit on the roof of the car. Dolly sniffled. It's money, he told his mother. The great Hubbard told on tonight. I want to say somewhere with a television. Monday, this reminded Terry of something. If it was Monday and you could usually count on Dolly to know the day the week because of television, then tomorrow Tuesday was Harry's 11th birthday. Of course, his birthday were never last year. The Dursley had given him a coat hanger and a pair of Uncle Vernon old socks. Still, you weren't 11 every day. Uncle Vernon was back and he was smiling. He was also carrying a long thin patches and didn't answer Aunt Petunia when she asked what he did both. Found perfectly, he said. Come on, everyone out. It was very cold outside the car. Uncle Vernon was pointing at what looked like a large rock way off as the pitch on the top of the rock was the most miserable little shake you could imagine. One thing was certain, there was no television in there. Storm forecast for tonight, said Uncle Vernon gravely, clapping his hands together, and this gentleman kindly agreed to lend us his sport, and toothless old man came and lay up to them, pointing with a rather wicked grin at an old round pot popping in the iron grey water below them. I have already got up some ration, said Uncle Vernon, so all aboard. It was freezing in the pot. I see sheep spray and rain crept down their necks and chilly wind whipping their faces after what seemed like hours. They reached the rock where Uncle Vernon, slipping and sliding, led the way to the broken down house. The inside was horrible. It smelled strongly of seaweed. The wind whistled through the gaps in the wooden walls, and fireplace was dumb and empty. There were only two rooms. Uncle Vernon's ration turned out to be a bag of cheap H and for banana. He tried to start a fire, but the empty cheap bags but just smoke and shivered up. Could do with something of letter as he said cheerfully. He was in a very good mood. Obviously he thought no party stuff a chance of reaching them here into a storm to delivery were mail Harry private Totally agreed through and thought. I didn't cheer him at all. As night fell, the bromance storm blew up around them. Spray from the highways splattered the walls of the huts, and a fierce wind rattled the filthy windows. On Petunia found a few muddy blankets in the second room and make up a bed for Dolly on the moth-eaten sofa. She and Uncle Vernon went off to lumping bed next door, and Harry was left to find the softest bit of floor because he could, and took her under the thinnest, most retro blanket. The the storm rained more and more furiously as the night went on. Harry couldn't sleep. He shivered and turned over, trying to get comfortable, his stomach rumbling with hunger. Dudley snored, drowned by the low rolls of thunder that started near midnight. The lighted dial of Dudley's watch was standing over the edge of the sofa on his favourite. Though Harry he did be 11 in 10 minutes. He lay and watched his birthday ticking near it, wondering was it the Dursley would remember at all, wondered there where the letter writer was now. 5 minutes to go. Harry heard something crack outside. He hoped the roof wasn't going to fall in, although he might be warmer if it did. 4 minutes to go. Maybe the house in Private Drive would be so full of letters when they got back that he did be able to steal one. Somehow 3 minutes to go. What was the sea slapping hard one on the rock like that, and 2 minutes to go? What was that funny crunching noise? Was the rock crumbling into the sea? 1 minute to go, and he did be 11:30 seconds, 20, 10, 9. Maybe he did wake Dudley up just to annoy him. 3, 2, 1, pum! The whole sack shivered, and Harry sat bolt upright, staring at the door. Someone was outside knocking to come in. Goodbye, everyone. Thank you for listening.